This year, I'd like to see REBNY focus on something that I think it really has no choice about focusing on, the renewal of rent regulation by the state legislature by the end of the year.
What I think is of critical importance to the real estate industry this year is going to be what happens with respect to rent regulatory issues and how that's going to impact mixed-use housing and residential real estate in New York City. I think all of our clients are very focused on waiting for what the legislature is going to do, and it's going to have a really significant impact in investment, in development, in how people are going to invest their money, and what the banks are going to lend on. So it's a really critical issue. We're all waiting.
As a REBNY member for over 25 years, I believe that REBNY is always at the cutting edge of what is best for New York City. If you go back to the days of the '74 real estate tax crisis, or you come to today where REBNY is working hard to alter the tax structure of New York City so that we can continue to build new buildings at tax rates that make them economically viable.
Well, we're going to focus on affordability in terms of both housing and work with the governor and the legislature to make sure that a fair and reasonable rent laws are enacted. We have to make sure that owners are incentivized to invest in their buildings and upgrade their buildings and increase the quality of housing and provide opportunities for the contractors and the people who are doing this work, because if we're not incentivized, we're not going to spend the money, and those companies are going to have problems.
I know REBNY has its hands full. What I'd like to see REBNY focus on are more environmentally friendly issues. So they've got their hands full, obviously, with affordable units and with infrastructure, clearly. But we're not seeing enough done, I think, on the environmental end. NYSERDA does a little bit, Empire State Development does a little bit, but I'd really like to see REBNY push hard on getting better incentives and programs for Class B owners like ourselves.
I think the most important thing is to try to convince our city council and our mayor that socialism is a failed experiment. There's no country on earth where it worked, and trickle-down economics works. I love the idea that the entire city council is trying to level the playing field for the disenfranchised and people outside the top 10%. But I think what we really need to focus on, real estate is a tremendous driver and tax revenue generator. We need to use that in the right way, and we need to encourage it. Intelligent development with communities in mind is exactly what we need. We don't need to pave over every parking lot, but we do need continued development.
Rent control needs to be abolished in New York City. It needs to not stay in effect. We need to get all apartments into market rent, and we need to make sure that all landlords are involved in this decision.
I think this is the year that REBNY should focus on issues that affect the residential brokerage community. We know that they are the heart and soul of our industry. They, in fact, are of key importance to the real estate board, and I think that they deserve a spotlight on them. And I think there's going to be a lot of stuff happening in Albany that we need help all across the real estate industry, but let's do right by our residential brokers.